Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Thanks for joining us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. You need that number, 888-900-3393, for Pat Gray Bingo, for one thing. Of course, you can participate at any time by calling that number. But also, when you fill out this bingo sheet and get bingo, it could be all 5 squares across, down, diagonally. Then you want to be the first to call 888-900-3393 if you are the first one through with bingo.
Where's that bingo card again?
Pinned to the top of Pat Gray Unleashed.
Oh, on X?
On X.
I see.
Or Twitter. However you refer
Depends
to
on what
it.
mood I'm in. What I'm going to call it.
So you call and you win. If you're the first through, you win $30 worth of merchandise from PatGrayShop.com and then a dozen Kexi cookies from Kexi.com.
Wow.
So it's a nice price package, and all you have to do is pay attention. That's it. Starts in the upper left-hand corner this week with me saying, "I'm not your trained monkey." Jeffy saying, "I'll tell you that." Okay. Ribbit.
Wait,
Really?
We're going with the low T frog? Ribbit. Oh, no.
We're not actually going with the ribbit from the Big Frog, 1099.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Me saying ick. That's almost a free square. Something icky happens almost every day. Good morning this morning. Yeah, the morning time. Beautiful morning. Some of that, not necessary. Just good morning this morning is the necessary part. Me saying handy dandy square. Linda from Providence.
I heard it on the news, and I said it was ridiculous, man. That's it.
Then Keith.
Oh, then I say, they say the quiet part out loud.
Caroline Levitt. It's about dang time.
It is about dang time.
Jeffy talks about paddleboarding with the Obamas, because you might remember that didn't turn out well for the chef. Olbermann saying,
Mr. Bush, you're a fascist. Get them to print you a T-shirt with fascist on it.
What a burn. What a burn.
I actually want a T-shirt that says
with the word
fascist.
fascist on it.
I'd love that.
Okay. I mentioned Big Mike. Noodle it out. Chris identifies a Jeffy Tell.
Oh, yeah.
That would be like...
It's going to be a deep one.
Yeah. You got to really be paying attention for that one. Jeffy says,
"Let me eat!"
Okay, that happens all the time. Keith.
I'm just spitballing here.
Biden. Chocolate chips.
Chocolate chip.
Okay. Oh, wow.
dear
Good
leader.
choice, Mr. President. We're such butt kissers that, we're going to ooh and ah over that.
Oh, God.
Jeffy, come on now. Or is it?
It's now.
It
It's
is now?
corrected on the Twitter.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. I like this one.
It's people.
People.
Soylent Green is made out of people.
KFC is
Soylent Green is people!
Then I say, what kind of freak? In the Michael Jackson way. I speak song lyrics. Another free square. Chris talks about chickens.
All right.
I can't imagine that happening.
No.
You ever talk about chickens?
Never. I don't know what that even
When's
is.
the opportunity
Where'd
ever
that come from?
presented? So,
That's really weird. All right. Well, we'll see if it can come true this
Pay
time.
attention, I guess.
Yeah. I guess so. We got this. The Heavenly Choir. Angel Choir. Keith says.
this is Idiocracy.
And then I say, like it likes.
Like it likes.
From Rhonda Locklear of the
Lumbee tribe.
Lumbee tribe. Like it likes.
In Pembroke.
My Final Four. I have a perfect Final Four.
Look at that.
How about that? Wasn't perfect along the way, of course, but
You got there, though.
Got there. They finally got to where I saw it happening. Auburn, Florida, in one SEC battle, and then Houston, Duke on the other side of the bracket.
And that'll be the first Final Four featuring 4 number 1 seeds since 2008.
Oh wow! So apparently they seeded They seeded things pretty properly this time. You notice that all through the tournament, even in the Sweet 16, it was almost all high seeds. It was
Boring.
it's a little bit.
I think these big schools have a lot of NIL money.
Yes.
I think Cinderellas are going to be few and far between going forward.
It's not just that, though. It's the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because, you start out at South Florida, and then you wind up at Auburn. And then Auburn just steals every team's good players. That's happened a ton. Also, spring is here. We just had opening day for baseball the other day, a couple of days ago. Watched a great documentary, speaking of baseball, on Nolan Ryan. Have you seen the Nolan Ryan documentary?
No.
Guy's really fascinating.
Cool.
He had a lifetime record of 324 and 292. That winning percentage is, it's good, but maybe not what you'd expect from a legend. But what it does tell you is that the poor guy played on garbage teams almost his whole career.
I know. Oh. Does it talk about his beef ventures?
No, they didn't really. They didn't get and he's got a big beef.
Yeah. Is that just
company.
a Texas thing?
I don't know if it's only available in Texas. Maybe people can let us know if you have Nolan Ryan beef in your area, because it's pretty popular here.
Yep.
But the guy had a 3.19 lifetime ERA, which is really good. He struck out 5,714 batters. Randy Johnson is second on that all-time list with 1,000 fewer strikeouts.
Oh.
He had 7 no-hitters, 12 one-hitters, the most of anybody, the most 2-hitters at 18, and the most 3-hitters at 31. He threw his last no-hit game at 44 years old. This guy was incredible.
Definitely.
The lifetime career batting average against him was only 203. So teams, on average, hit 203 against him. I mean, you wouldn't even be in the major leagues if you hit that badly.
Yeah, right.
They said if they would have had the same radar gun,
right.
the same technology, he would have been clocked at 108 miles per hour.
Yeah, heard that.
108! That is just incredible. First athlete to make $1 million in a career or a year. He was the first one to ever hit the $1 million mark in any sport, so not just baseball. But what's really interesting is that after his first World Series win with the New York Mets, who was one of the few good teams he played on, but it was really early in his career. After that season, winning the World Series, he had to go back to Alvin, Texas, which is in suburban Houston, and sell heating and air conditioning units.
Incredible.
He made so little money. He made $7,000 with the Mets. $7,000. So it's a really cool story. If you want to check out a documentary, highly recommend that one. On Friday, President Trump posted this video about the relationship between the United States and Greenland, because that's a real thing. I mean, the Greenland talk, he wants it, and he wants it bad, and he really thinks we need it, and I guess deserve it. So here's what he had to say about that.
In the cold silence
Or
of the tundra,
someone had to say
a
about
bond was born, not from treaties or trade, but from blood and bravery. While Germany controlled Europe, the Nazis set their sights on the Arctic. Greenland became an unwitting combatant, and the United States stepped in, not to conquer, but to protect. In 1943, nearly 1,000 American soldiers with 4 chaplains set sail from New York to Greenland, carrying with them hope, duty, and a quiet fear. But their ship was torpedoed by a Nazi U-boat, and the frigid waters of the North Atlantic became a grave. Those 4 chaplains gave up their life vests, giving their lives so that others might live, to protect America and Greenland. Their sacrifices helped win our freedom, and we will never forget. Together, Americans and Greenlanders stood as sentinels at the top of the world. But today, Greenland faces new threats. From Russian aggression and Chinese expansion, our shared legacy lives on in every joint mission, every Arctic patrol, every partnership forged in the shadow of melting ice and rising tensions. This is not just history, it is destiny. Now is the time to stand together again. For peace, for security, for the future, America stands with Greenland.
Okay. It's a good tactic.
I don't know how much they appreciate that, though. They should.
Yeah, they should.
But they don't.
It doesn't seem like they do. Vice President Vance and his wife Usha visited American troops stationed there.
Awesome.
Hey guys, how we doing? Please, at ease.
I love this
Good
so
Lord,
much.
sit down and eat. Sit down and eat. Don't let the vice president stop you guys from getting your chow here. How we doing? It's cold as here. Nobody told me. Well, thank you all for everything you do, and thanks for having us. So please sit down, guys. Please. I want you to eat your food. Usha and I are thrilled to be here. It's a really beautiful flight, actually. You fly over some pretty cool spots. I've never been to Greenland. Apparently, I'm the first vice president to ever visit Greenland, so that's a pretty cool thing. But we're looking forward to hanging out and getting to know you guys and understanding what you do. So I think what do we have? So we're gonna talk to the command and some of the guardians about what exactly the base does and all the important ways it contributes to national security. We're going to get a briefing, of course, about what you guys do every day, and then we're going to talk just about, as you've heard, we have some interest in Greenland from the Trump administration. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with our friends in the media. But I just want to say thank you all. Thanks for having us, and thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you do. The colonel told me that this is a one-year unaccompanied duty station. When we were flying in, we were wondering whether you guys were allowed to bring your families here. So I know it's a lot of sacrifice to spend a year away from your families, but the mission is really important. The Trump administration, the president is really interested in Arctic security. As you all know, it's a big issue, and it's only going to get bigger over the coming decades. So thanks for doing what you do.
While he was there, too, he took the time to talk about the impending trade war with Canada.
The tariffs. There's been some retaliation, some signals at least in the media that Canada's going to respond. Some of these others are going to respond to the president's tariffs. What's your message for Americans that are going to see costs increase on auto manufacturing, new cars, that kind of thing? Is it Buy America, or what's the message going forward there?
Well, let me say a couple of things. First of all, for the Canadians, and we have many dear friends in Canada, and of course we love the Canadian people, but the Canadian leadership threatening retaliatory tariffs against the United States, as President Trump often says, they just don't have the cards. There is no way that Canada can win a trade war with the United States. What President Trump has said is that he wants to level the playing field. Right. For decades, Canadian leadership has forced American farmers and American manufacturers to play by an unfair set of rules. All President Trump has said is that we're done playing by an unfair set of rules. If you're going to do something to our industries, then we're going to do something back to your industries. That's how you protect American manufacturing, and that's how you protect American jobs.
Okay. So there you go. That's nicely put. The president shared some interesting thoughts on car payments in the U.S.
We're going to do something that has never been done in this country before. I'm very proud to say it was my idea. And so sometimes a simple idea, they say, how'd you think of that one? It's so simple, it was never done. If you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, if it's manufactured here, when you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people, and it's unfair to have that. But rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth. But, you know, the truth is that people that are middle income people that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States.
All right. I like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. They're also kicking around raising taxes on wealthy wage earners, which I am not in favor of. So I'm hoping that'll be squelched. But yesterday morning, the president spoke to NBC News, and Kristen Welker relayed some of his comments to him. Here's what he said about Vladimir Putin.
Just hours ago, President Trump called me to tell me he is, quote, pissed off with Russia's President Putin and threatened to impose secondary tariffs on Russia's oil. Quote, if Russia and I are unable to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I am going to put secondary tariffs on all oil coming out of Russia. Mr. Trump said 25% tariffs on Russian oil could happen any moment and told me he plans to speak with President Putin this week. The president told me, quote, I was very angry, pissed off when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility and started talking about new leadership in Ukraine.
Okay.
He's not the only one questioning the credibility of Vladimir Zelensky. I think that's a fair criticism, especially when you had Zelensky saying over the weekend, we're not going to recognize this aid from the U.S. We're not going to recognize those as loans, even though Trump has said, yeah, you're going to pay those back through your minerals.
Wow.
Jeez. So I think criticism of Zelensky from any front is warranted. Yes.
He also expressed some thoughts on Iran as well.
On Iran, the president said he's also considering secondary tariffs if Iran doesn't agree to a nuclear deal. Quote, if they don't make a deal, there will be bombing, and it will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before.
Oh, no.
Boy. Wow.
Got a lot.
Yeah, it was a big weekend.
A lot of irons in the fire there.
Yeah.
What a weird thing, though. Why did they record that conversation? Why is it like we have to go through Kirsten Welker?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was strange.
Very. One of the things he also talked to Kristen Welker about was her the fact that he was considering a third term, and he thinks there are ways to make that happen. Okay, first, it's unconstitutional. All right, you'd have to change the U.S. Constitution. You're not going to be able to do that in 3 years. Second, he'd be too old. What? He's 78, 79 now? Did he? He would be 82, 83 when running again. 86 or 87 at the end of that term. No. Right. No, I'm sorry. No. I mean, we can't be against. I mean, yes, it's different because Biden has definite signs of dementia. But come on. We can have younger leadership than an 85-year-old man. I mean, I know he's done a really good job, but all this is doing right now is giving extra cannon fire, something fairly legitimate to the left. I mean, they've been claiming he's a fascist and a dictator, and then you're talking about a third term, which is unconstitutional. And no, you can't become the vice president of somebody, have them quit, and then you become the president. That's also unconstitutional. That's not permitted with the 12th Amendment. God, you can't do that. So
I did find a clip though when I was looking this morning back in 2023 where he sat down with Kristen Welker and he said point blank no when she asked him, would you ever seek a third term?
I wish you would say that again. Even if you do have some secret plan, keep it to yourself. And then show us the secret plan at the end and we'll deal with it then. This is just going to make everything tougher. This just gives him actual ammunition against him. I don't like it when he does that. You can't serve a third term. You can't do it. If you want to amend the Constitution, we could talk about that later. I don't think we should be doing it during this presidency. That is a huge undertaking. You got to get 2/3 of Congress. You have to go through all the states. It's a mess. And I don't want to go through that process. Can you imagine the howling of the left that whole time? But, I mean, Steve Bannon is just fanning that flame. He's a firm believer, he keeps saying, that President Trump will run and win again in 2028. Well, he can't. He can't. Not at this point, anyway. I don't know. Amend the Constitution and then get back to me on that. Good luck with that effort. Bannon did say a man like this comes along once every century, if we're lucky. And yeah, that's true. There are other people, however, who could, I think I think Vance would do a fine job as president of the United States, as our candidate in 28. Ron DeSantis, we've got people in the wings who can actually do this. Let them do it. Don't tell me we're going to put another octogenarian in office for another 4 years. No. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Probably pissed off a lot of supporters, and I'm a supporter myself. I just don't like it when he gives ammunition to the left, and to me, that's what this is.
Yeah. Unforced error.
Yep. And he's not joking. That's the thing. I mean, he's dead serious about it. The Canada thing, he's joking about that. He's just trying to rile up the Canadians and the left, and that's why he keeps talking about making Canada a state and their premier the governor. That's just fun. That's just good, clean fun right there. But he's serious as a heart attack about Greenland, and he's serious about this, about the third term thing. Anyway, back to the Oval Office. It is nice having a president, again, who acknowledges that men and women are different. So we got that going for us.
What is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me, because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women.
Yep. Got that one right. That's for sure. He also discussed the latest on illegals being deported from the country.
You and your team apprehended a top 3 leader in the violent gang MS-13 yesterday, just 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. What has made you and your team so effective in finding, locating, apprehending, and deporting these violent, illegal migrants?
I love this guy. I wish more people would ask questions like that.
Who was that?
That's very nice. And they happen. All you're doing is being fair with you when you ask a question in that way. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and all of the rest of law enforcement. And I think we have to include ICE and Border Patrol, Paul of Border Patrol, the whole group from Border Patrol. They're so incredible, and it's dangerous stuff, hard stuff. And it's really an unforced error, because these people were allowed into this country. They shouldn't have been in this country. They would have never been in this country. We're getting rid of some of the worst criminals in the world. They came out of jails and mental institutions from all over the world. But Pam and the whole group, and Kash, who's here, and it's so good to have him. I see him all over. He's working 24 hours a day, but the job they've done is incredible. And they caught one of the worst criminals in the world, I guess, in terms of evilness. You don't get any worse than the MS-13 guys and the Tren de Aragua guys. You could flip a coin. It's a rough group. And, the big thing is they have to be able to do their job. I was watching it on television like you, and I saw the home that he lived in a good area, but boy, they had a lot of weaponry in there, right? Highly sophisticated, really brutal stuff. So I appreciate the question, and I just want to thank Kash and Pam and the whole group for doing a fantastic, and the local law enforcement who's been so terrific, even first responders. So I want to thank everybody, and thank you very much.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest parts of that is they have the will to do it, and they're the first administration, maybe ever, maybe in my lifetime, to even have the will to actually do it. Yeah. I don't think even Bush had the will to do it. He was too soft on the border, way too soft on immigration. So he's the first one who's had the will, and they're going after it and just doing it and not letting the left screaming and weeping and wailing about it. They're not letting that stop them. It's great. It's fantastic. There's one particular illegal immigrant who's out of the country now as well.
Bye-bye.
Fox News alert, Lionel Moreno, a.k.a. the freeloading Venezuelan welfare king, has been deported. We told you about Moreno last year when he was trying to become a migrant influencer, mocking Americans while living large off the government dole.
Yeah.
Les duele You're hurt because I make more than you without much work, while you work like slaves. Understand? That's the difference between you and me. I'm always going to make lots of money without much work, and you're always going to be exploited and miserable and insignificant.
I hope you enjoyed the Biden bucks while they lasted. That's not all, though. Lionel apparently caused a scene on the flight back to Venezuela, and officials had to move him to his own section of the plane with extra security. I assume there was no in-flight movie either. ACLU's probably suing. Too bad. Adios, amigo.
He's back in Venezuela.
Yeah, good.
Bet he's happy.
Good. How about that Colombia kid? Have we gotten him out of here yet?
I don't know where that stands.
Is it Mahmoud Khalil?
No, he's still in here.
Is he?
Yeah.
He needs to go. He needs to go as well.
When's the hearing for him? Do we know? There's a follow-up hearing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw Colombia protesters, like people tearing up their diplomas. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Whatever.
All right. That cost you what? $200,000 to get that diploma? Go ahead. Who cares? I don't care if you tear it up. Are they tearing it up because Colombia is caving into the Trump administration?
Correct.
Or
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah. But as for that guy, I mean, he gets to go back to Venezuela, and I'm sure life will be great for him there.
I'm sure it will.
So that's
so he's going to make money, and we're going to continue to do a lot of hard work and not make as much money as he does. So good luck to him making all that money in Venezuela.
That was the guy who made the videos talking about how you could be a squatter, how you could take over somebody's house. I mean, that guy was just a
douchebag.
He was a douchebag.
Yeah,
I didn't know he had. I mean, he's got an impressive head of hair. I mean, I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm just saying. I mean, compared to because he was bald in all of his videos, so he really let himself.
Yeah,
let it grow out.
Yeah,
nice fro going now.
It's a good look too. It's a good look for him.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Is that damn handsome?
Look
man.
at that.
Yeah,
see?
look at the difference. That is a big time difference.
That's the same guy, huh? Okay. Cool.
All right. Yeah. It's really grown out. Good for him. So the Tesla protests over the weekend.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I encountered one myself.
Did you?
Yeah. I was going to the Apple store in South Lake.
Okay.
South Lake Mall.
You were right in the middle of it.
I was right. In fact, I walked right through these morons.
Oh, you didn't live stream?
Twice.
You didn't just hit go live?
Didn't have my phone. Surprisingly, I know because I'm with
Always
my
there.
phone 24/7, as you know, Keith, and I carry it. And I don't know what happened. I just forgot it at
Well, you
home.
go to the Apple store, so you're going to get it fixed, right? Because you couldn't
Yes.
stream.
Oh, look at you.
I had to buy one of their stupid-ass chargers because one of mine doesn't work at home. And so, you know how expensive those things are?
Yes.
It's like, no, I don't want a gold-plated charger. I just want something you stick into the wall and plug in my unit and recharge it. That's all I want. What should that cost? $20? Not $50 or $60 or whatever they charge me. I mean,
my.
I got two of them for $110.
What?
What the heck?
Wow.
It's outrageous.
Made in America.
Yeah, well.
Can't get them out of the slave shops
Thing
overseas
is,
anymore.
probably not, since they're big into Chinese manufacturing. Right. But there was, I don't know, a couple hundred people in South Lake.
People.
In South Lake, Texas.
I didn't know there was a Tesla dealership.
Yeah, there's a showroom.
Right across the
Yeah,
street
there's a
from
showroom
Apple.
right there.
Were they burning it down or just chanting?
Just chanting. The chants like, the rule of law matters. I'm like, the rule of law matters? Since when? For you people. You know, they're pissed off that we're deporting these people and they're going to jail in El Salvador. But they don't care. They didn't care about the rule of law they were breaking when they crossed the border illegally and committed identity theft and fraud while they were here. That rule of law didn't seem to matter to these idiots. They couldn't care less about the rule of law. And all of a sudden, it's rule of law matters. Then they had signs about fascism and, nobody elected Elon and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he didn't have to be elected. You know that not one of the cabinet members that Donald J. Trump has were elected. Same with Obama. Same with Bush, the same with Clinton, and every other president back through time. The cabinet members are not elected. They're appointed by the president. That's the system we have here, stupids. Agonizing. But this was going on all across the country.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome to it. Thanks for being with us today. Start your week with us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Let me share with you some information on fast-growing trees. That is the biggest online nursery in the United States. They have thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers. They got all the plants your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and lots more. So whatever plants you're interested in, Fast Growing Trees has you covered. You can find the perfect fit for the climate you live in and the space that you have. We've had this space in front of our house, and they recommended just the right kind of tree for it and for our climate here in Texas, which is difficult because, it goes from surface of the sun hot to just Arctic cold from time to time.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have the know-how on how to plant it, where to plant it, if it's okay to plant it here, and that's where their plant experts come in. Plus, your plants are delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Without you leaving home, the plant, of course, leaves from their place to your home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures that your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, you'll get support from their trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape. You choose the right plants and learn how to care for them, too. So it's just phenomenal. This spring, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the promo code PAT at checkout. That's an additional 15% off their already low prices at fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the promo code PAT at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, promo code PAT. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use PAT and save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
You're listening to Pat Gray Unleashed.
We have an estimate on how many people attended the Tesla protests. Because it was maybe a couple hundred again, as I said, in South Lake. My wife was really surprised that they weren't. But these people aren't from South Lake.
No, they weren't.
They came from somewhere else.
Well, I've got an article here that says there were over 200 Tesla takedown protests.
200
that
protests
nationwide, but I don't know how many at each.
I mean, I walked right through that crowd. I could tell they're not from South Lake. First of all, there was not nearly enough plastic surgery.
Thank you.
Almost all the lips of the women were normal sized. So I know they were not South Lakers.
Did their heart seem into it?
No, yeah, their heart did seem into it.
Okay, so they were earning the money that Soros and company were paying.
Okay. Right.
All right.
Yes. And these are, by the way, AstroTurf protests. They're being paid. So just know that, too. When you happen upon one of these protests, just know that this isn't just a bunch of outraged citizens. This is all set up by the left, and they're paid, and that's why they're there. So it's garbage, start to finish. Got some tweets here. Census Cowboy tweets, you forgot to mention the real travesty on Nolan Ryan. Despite all those amazing stats, Nolan Ryan was never awarded a Cy Young Award.
Oh, man.
That is crazy. 27 seasons. And never got a Cy Young. Unreal.
He won a boxing match, though, on a Major League Baseball field, which is...
Yes, he did.
An unusual stat to hold.
Yeah.
Robin Ventura.
Yeah. Robin, by the way, refused to be interviewed for the special.
Aww.
Still embarrassed, apparently. Still embarrassed that a pitcher took him down. Bunter Hayden, pardoned crack connoisseur, tweets, holy crap, Trump is taxing the rich, criticizing Putin, and pissing off Iran? Leftists must be super confused. No kidding. Rowdy introvert, I hope the President Trump takes full advantage of April Fool's Day tomorrow with a record-setting number of troll posts and comments.
Oh, that'd be fun.
By the way, your shirt today is compliments of RowdyMade.com.
I appreciate this gift, Rowdy, because we had talked about
cool.
Calvin Coolidge and Carrot Top. That would be a hysterical sitcom. 80s sitcom. So he came up with Imperfect Strangers.
It's so great.
So
I thought Reese's Pieces became like a sponsor of
No,
the
it's
Keith
not
Corner.
Reese's Pieces.
Oh, it's the colors, though.
It's the color that I picked.
Mhm.
You can pick any color at rowdymade.com. Not a sponsor.
Okay. Bill Maher just had California Governor Gavin Newsom on his show. God, everybody's got these shows now. Jeez. So you can't tell whose show is whose, who's on whose show.
Okay.
Because Newsom's always got some guest, and he's got his podcast. And so Bill Maher had Gavin on his
regular show. Yeah.
Regular show. Yeah. Okay, so this is the...
Yeah.
Is it HBO? Is that where he is?
Correct.
Okay.
Bill Maher, obviously very busy. But it's funny you mentioned that because we have clips from not only his normal show, but then we have another clip from his
Of course we do.
We got a lot of Bill Maher this morning.
Of course we do.
Let's go.
Given that we are in this dire situation, I feel like we don't have time anymore for the old bull. You know, the old, are you running for president? Well, you know, there's an exploratory committee, and I'm looking at it. I'm happy with my job as governor. I mean, your future is not in California. Your future is in Iowa. Let's dispense with the bull. We need someone who's going to be the champion.
He's not going
Are you going to do it or not? Just come on. Tell us.
Please.
Wait, if you're looking at Gavin Newsom as a champion, Bill,
By the way,
you got a long way to go
I
still.
deeply respect that. I can't stand the bull as well. And I mean that.
But I'm going to spew it
it's
anyway.
It's not my purpose or passion. It's not my meaning. It's not everything. The cynicism that's out there, that every move he's making is some move to some longer-term strategy or short-term strategy.
Who said that, bro? Who could do it? Who could get it done? Who could win?
I deeply respect that. I respect the question. But I don't have any grand plans as it respects to that. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm also trying to be accountable.
And the BS
you want
continues.
Things to change, you got to change. And that's what the podcast is about. That's my recognition of where we're weak.
Can I do
You
it?
got to call balls and strikes.
Okay.
That man wanted to
gosh.
be the replacement for Joe Biden so badly.
Oh, he did.
That's why he was
Yes,
up
he
at the
did.
White House so much. Remember that? In the spring of 2024?
Well, he was essentially having a battle with DeSantis because he thought that was going to be his opponent.
Yep.
And then it turned out not so much. So he wasted a lot of time. And then he changed tactics.
But look, he's got a lot of time because when you've got a state like California that runs on autopilot, it's such great shape.
Yeah,
then
right.
you have all the time in the world to just do whatever you want to. Podcast, tour the country, run for president.
Sure.
Man.
Maher pushed back, though, on the woke nonsense in California.
I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And by the way, the notion that we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff.
Right, thank
I see
you.
Today, the Trump administration they talked about, I don't know if this is true, but they talked about the fact that California had a rule that schools cannot be required to notify parents if their kids in school have changed their gender, their pronouns. That's the kind of thing, even though it doesn't affect a lot of people, that makes a lot of people go, well, you know what? That's the party without common sense. Now, if that's your state, how are you?
Well, I just disagree with that. I mean, the law was you would be fired. A teacher would be fired if a teacher did not report or snitch on a kid talking about their gender identity. I just think that was wrong.
You're not snitching on a kid when you tell their parents.
You and Bill are on the same wavelength here for sure.
Good golly, this guy's insane still. He's trying to come off as this moderate because he knows that the left-wing kooks have no chance anymore. So he's trying to be a moderate. Oh, no. I'm right down the middle.
He's such a bad liar, too.
He's terrible.
He's so smarmy. I wouldn't buy a used car from this guy.
Oh, my gosh. No. All right, let's see what Bill says.
Talking about their gender identity. I just think that was wrong. I think teachers should teach. I don't think they should be required to turn in kids. And by the way,
we're talking about their parents.
Thank you, Bill.
The idea of a snitch and a parent, to me, doesn't compute.
Well,
Wow.
Boom.
You would have thought I'd seen that clip. But, wow. That's great that he brought that up. I mean, he's not where we are, obviously.
No, if he's still calling.
But, yeah.
If he's saying, Newsom, we need a champion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, come on. But at least he says he's trying, and I think he is. I mean, he's doing this meet with President Trump. Is that tomorrow or today?
Is it today?
Is it today, maybe? Because it was supposed to be at the end of the month. Yeah. So it must be today.
It's today.
Yeah, so I would say that, to your point, Bill Maher may be actually trying. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think Newsom is.
But Newsom, not in a million years is this guy concerned about the other side or common bond. He is a politician, and he's trying to broaden his base and his appeal, and that picture right there is not altered whatsoever. Nice jobs, too, in there.
Okay.
There he is.
There he is.
Governor.
There he is. Oh, and you said that's an unaltered picture?
Yeah, that's
That's my understanding.
All right.
That's my understanding.
Huh.
The devil horns and the fire behind him.
Okay.
Not altered at all. But honestly, this guy has got things to concentrate on in his own state.
Yeah.
I just
you know what though?
understand.
If there is an antichrist that's coming along the pipe, he kind of fits the mold. Good-looking, smarmy guy, pretending to be something he's not. Something to that, maybe. So on his podcast, Bill Maher explained why he's about to have dinner with President Trump.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am?
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that.
I bet.
The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away. So if they expect me to be leaving in a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't. And I think it's going to be, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but You got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it. You know Kanye.
Bill Maher.
Yeah, I like it too. I like it too. I think it's a good move by President Trump and Bill Maher. And it probably pisses off the base of both people. But they're doing it anyway. So good for them. I mean, he's right. What's gonna come of it?
A MAGA hat? No?
Probably not. No. Probably not. It'd be funny, though, if he came out of the White House wearing a MAGA hat.
At least a troll move.
It'd be funny. Yeah, it'd be great. All right, let me tell you about Kexi. Kexi cookies. This is the last day to order our Irish cream brownie. Man, that is so good. And our mint chocolate cookies. They're going to be replaced with our cookie of the month and tomorrow. So it's April 1st. That's not an April Fool's joke. It's actually coming. And so if you're still looking to try these or you've tried them and you love them, now's the time to go to Kexi.com and get them. You don't have to take my word. You can listen to Joel, who said the cookies are everything Pat has said about them. Thank you, Joel. It's no wonder Jeffy wants them all the time. Although, what food item does Jeffy not want all the time? And then he writes parenthetically, this isn't the radio show, so I figured fat shaming can be tolerated.
Let me eat!
We absolutely loved each and every bite. Thank you for a wonderful cookie. And thank you for the wonderful review. Appreciate that, Joel. So skip the usual gift and send something really special. Go to Kexi.com, pick out your favorite cookies, and hit send. It's that easy. Kexi.com, Kexi, Kexi.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
All right. So as the flap over the SignalGate drags on, it's been reported that the only reason NSA head Mike Walz hasn't been fired is because Trump doesn't want to give the liberal media a scalp.
I can actually respect that reasoning. Yeah.
And do we have time for this, Scott Jennings?
No, we don't.
Okay.
So I don't. What do you think of that? That's almost a good enough reason for me for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's inclined to fire someone.
Yeah.
And then says, you know what?
I'm not going to.
No, the left wants me to, so no. That's a good enough reason for me across the board.
Yeah. Although it might help to end the madness on it. I don't know. Probably not, though. And they're probably going to scream about it no matter what he does. Even if he did fire Mike Walz, it'd be the same nonsense over and over and over and over.
Jeffrey Goldberg says that he didn't expound on it, but he basically said Mike Walz is lying. He had my phone number. So it's not like, because Walz says, I never met him, I don't know how it got into my phone.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. 888-900-3393. More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Of course, the SignalGate continues to drag on and on and on. The hysteria over it. The administration maintains that nothing that was super secret was divulged in these messages. And I guess the launch time or the time everything was supposed to happen doesn't qualify as classified. So,
wow, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting.
that feels like, that if anything should be classified, it should be
the time
we're going to attack an enemy.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. But here was Scott Jennings over the weekend on CNN talking about it.
Believe in accountability.
I think Republicans aren't interested in any lectures on accountability in the military after the Biden administration. I mean, the bar for getting rid of a Secretary of Defense is apparently pretty high. You can get 13 people killed and go AWOL and not tell the commander-in-chief, and that's not a fireable offense.
Thank you.
These lectures about accountability and national security after letting 10 million people into the country who raped and murdered and committed violent acts and no remorse or accountability.
What are you talking
no
about?
more lectures.
No
more lectures about national security. This was a hugely successful mission. The decision was righteous. The strike was the exact right thing to do, and it was executed flawlessly.
He was not on that signal chain. But the idea that he didn't know about it when he was first asked about it and the extent to which he doesn't know seems rather deliberate.
If he didn't know and he didn't have the facts or he hadn't been briefed on it, what is the alternative here? To go out and make something up or to say, I don't know. I haven't been told. And my understanding is he didn't know about it. He wasn't on it. Maybe he wasn't even aware what signal is. I mean, it is not inconceivable that the president, when I didn't see the timestamps on these questions, didn't actually have enough information to comment publicly at the time on any of these matters. It's not out of the ordinary for a president to hold back until they have all the facts or all the things they need to know to make a legitimate comment.
He has not been briefed and he can't speak to it.
And what's worse, a president not having all the information he needs to make a legitimate comment, so he holds back in the moment before being ready to make a comment, or I don't know, willfully lying to the American people about the condition of the President of the United States, which went on for 4 years in this country by all of your colleagues.
Totally wrong. That is totally wrong. That is totally wrong.
How is that wrong? How? In what way?
Read all the books that are coming out.
Joe Biden. I mean,
you guys
I don't
are
know if you're a
upset
judge.
that Trump is exhibiting some, I want to get more facts. And I'm going to be lectured by the people who lied to the American people about the condition of the president.
Oh my God!
Right. No way.
Nobody.
First
of all, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. Yes, it is.
You think the truth was told? You think the truth was told?
I will say.
Did the White House tell the truth?
No.
I will look forward to this.
Of course they did not.
Do you all believe the truth was told about Biden?
Scott, do you want government or do you want your lick back? Because even if all of that happened in the past, we're in the present now. So we need a president that is capable.
And what difference does it make?
Did it hurt your life? Wow. He said, I don't know.
Hey, we could use that line.
Biden did it. Biden
on
did it. Biden did it. You cannot write that for 4 years.
I absolutely can.
The country to move forward.
100% can.
That's what they did.
Biden wrote it for 4 years on Trump. And Obama wrote it for 8 years on George W. Bush.
Thank you. Yes.
Right. We were right here.
Yes. That's for sure. He's making all the great arguments there.
Right.
That's really good.
And that guy's like, well, what is Roy Wood? What is he? He's an actor, right? What does he do? Anyway, cool. He's on the panel. He was just saying how that's in the past. Well, hell, I guess it's time for us to drop that line on SignalGate, right?
Right.
Look, it was
that's
a successful mission.
Yeah.
It's over. Nobody on our side died. It's behind us. Time to move on. What difference does it make at this point, Senator?
Yeah. That would have been a nice comeback, too. So the hypocrisy is just incredible. It's really amazing. Wow. They don't like it when the same tactics are used on them.
Nope.
Wow. On the JFK front, which we haven't spent enough time on probably, but Representative Anna Paulina Luna.
This is interesting.
She had some interesting information over the weekend.
I would like to actually tell the American people, it was made aware to me this evening that NBC actually has a video that's never been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now. And so it's important to note that in a free and fair society, how could you operate or have an agency operating in the shadows? And so kudos to President Trump, also Director Radcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard for pushing for this transparency. It is going to be generational changing that they've done this. And we hope to bring forward legislation to ensure that this never happens again for future generations to come.
You're saying NBC has been keeping this tape of Oswald under wraps?
Correct. In fact, Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC has been very, very much so guarding this tape. And so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape. And I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy.
Okay, so there's a lot
There's a lot there.
A lot there.
I haven't heard the fact that
nobody
they
has
video of Lee Harvey Oswald near the vehicle.
So,
What?
okay. Now, there's a lot here. But I'm looking for what was Lee Harvey Oswald wearing on November 22nd. I'm not seeing that here in a quick search here. But underneath that video on Twitter, somebody posted this. I don't know if this is what she's referring to. I'm not sure. But somebody made the comment, the man in the doorway of the Texas School Book Depository was Billy Lovelady. So he was insinuating, the poster was insinuating that this is what Anna Paulina Luna is referring to. Again, you can look, it looks like Lee Harvey Oswald, but the guy who posted this says the guy's name is
so it's not
Billy
him.
Lovelady.
You don't know if
I
that's
don't
him.
know if
that's
this is what
saying.
she's referring to.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's what the poster is saying that she's referring to.
Interesting.
We'll see when NBC hopefully releases that footage. But I don't know. Was Lee Harvey Oswald in the storm drain? Do we know if he was there? Or so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yes, it
For
is.
sure.
Yes, it is.
It's always
Wow.
It always gets really interesting, and then we're let down. So let's see where this goes.
That's for sure. Now, Glenn had some really fascinating stuff from last week. A new tape I'd never heard either. This is another thing that just came to life
I know.
with this Clifton Carter situation. He was a longtime advisor. I mean, from 1937 on, he was with LBJ. And so here is what he had to say. Here's does this start with Glenn talking about it?
Yeah, I'm not sure who it starts with.
Yeah.
So the guy he's got in there is a guy named Shane Stevens. Correct?
Yes, and he's got the tape.
And he's the grandson of Billy Sol Estes, right? And that's the voice you're going to hear on the tape. Do I have this correct? Right?
I think Clifton Carter is the guy on the.
Is that right?
Is the voice on the tape?
Oh, okay.
I think because he's the
okay,
the advisor to LBJ. Anyway, here it is.
And they're talking about Malcolm Wallace, the shooter, supposedly.
Okay.
We've got the theory just there that LBJ was involved. What was his motive for involvement? And is there any proof whatsoever? Well, I saw something from Alex Jones. He featured a guest that claimed to have some proof, never before heard audio, of a conversation between close associates of LBJ. Listen to this.
Well, Saul, it's been a pretty touch and go situation. Lyndon and I have had quite a few unpleasant words here lately.
That's Clifton talking to.
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Wallace to assassinate the president.
Wow.
Hectic in every way.
You think?
But we've lived through it this far. I guess we'll continue to do so. Lyndon should have never issued that order.
Yeah.
To Mike. But we've had our differences, and I'm a true blue to Lyndon, as I've always been, and tried to carry out every order that he'd ever given me. But this is one I'll probably never be able to forget.
We wanted to see.
Wow. Okay, so there is a close friend and advisor to LBJ saying that he gave the order to assassinate JFK. Okay. Wow. Is that true though? I don't know. I don't know why the guy would have said it at the time if it weren't true. But yeah, I think that could put a crimp in a friendship right there. You know, it certainly should have put a crimp in the friendship right there. Wait, you gave the order to assassinate the sitting president of the United States? Yeah, I got a problem with that. I got a problem. We can't be friends anymore. That's a deal breaker. I'm a little picky that way.
Such a picky friendship.
I know.
Dude.
I know. It's not a true blue friend.
No, it's not.
Now, he was. So I guess he was going to stick with LBJ. But I wouldn't have. I would not have.
There's so many people that did not like JFK. And that's what's kind of clouding
so many.
all of these theories.
Right.
Is that all of them are plausible.
I mean, so many people had a reason to hate him. They thought, anyway. You know, the mob, the CIA. I mean, he was no friend of Allen Dulles. and he relieved Allen Dulles, who was the CIA director, of his duties, and that pissed him off. And he was meddling in the affairs of the CIA. They didn't like that. There's Russia. There's Cuba. There's LBJ, who was a douchebag. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different people this could have been. And really, what we've seen so far of the files hasn't really cleared it up.
And you haven't talked about Cuba and Russia. And
I did mention them just now.
Oh, you did mention
Yes,
that?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks for listening.
Well, you're welcome.
You have another show you're listening to this morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So anything's plausible is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And so we're obviously hungry for answers. And
we're not getting them.
And you know, Russia and Cuba also on that list of people. I don't know if you've mentioned that yet. Of those that didn't like.
No, thank you for bringing it up, because I think it should be.
Because it needed to be said.
Yeah.
So, and that's what concerns me so greatly about Donald Trump, is you have a president who, like JFK, is transformative and isn't afraid to put people in positions to make actual change in this corrupt government.
Yep.
This government.
And look at how the pushback is.
Especially the CIA, which
intense.
At that point, for 15 years, I highly recommend people go and watch the Mike Benz conversations with Joe Rogan. If you want to see what your government has done with your tax dollars and your name behind the scenes overseas in governments, including our own, and trying to control, bottom line. And JFK was not into that, much like Donald Trump is not into that. And when you make yourself the enemy of the deep state and powerful people who are used to getting their way,
dangerous.
God protect this man, Donald Trump. Please, you've seen what they have tried to do multiple times already. And as far as who actually was trying to pull the trigger that day, will we ever know?
I don't know how at this point.
Definitively, will we?
Yeah, I don't know how. You know, we're 62 years down the road, and so, I mean, none of that information is fresh anymore. I'm
looking forward to seeing this Anna Paulina Luna NBC news tape and see if...
I hope it's not what you just showed us.
I know, me too. I hope if it's...
That'd be
so
disappointing.
Help me, if it is Lee Harvey Oswald, if it is definitive, then you have to start at
I was
square one, man.
So what if it's not Lee Harvey Oswald that was the shooter? Do we restart this whole investigation again, or do we just give up on it?
Yeah,
you're never giving up on this. This is like Ron Paul said, and I agree 100%. This nation was a coup took this nation over on November 22nd, 1963, and we've been under its control ever since.
It's a pretty powerful point.
Yep.
All right, let me tell you about home title lock. Did you know scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? The FBI calls it house stealing. That's really creative. I don't know where they came up with that. Wait, you steal a house from somebody, and you're going to call it house stealing?
Amazing.
Wow. How'd they do it? I don't know. That's the FBI, man. That's how good they were before Kash Patel. Anyway, it's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. When was the last time you checked your home title? If you're like me, the answer is probably never. The only time I've ever checked it is when I got together with Home Title Lock, and they said, let us show you how easy this is.
Let me steal your house from you.
Yeah, they stole my house from me before we sold it. And so they showed, it took them, I think, 15 minutes. And all they had to do to finish the process was just file it with the local government, and they would have had my house. But they have $1 million triple lock protection that helps you keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you get. You get immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud should happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim, and access to your personal title expert. It's a $250 value just for signing up. So go to HometitleLock.com, use my promo code Unleashed250. That's Unleashed250, or click on the link in the description And make sure to check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you get there. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Unleashed250 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve.
Like what you hear? Listen to more at youtube.com/Pat Gray.
Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. And then there's Threads, of course. Where
That's where you posted all the pictures of the protests.
Yeah, well, I would have. If I'd had my phone with me, that's where I would have gone directly, yes. So, protests all over the country. We're hearing about 200 of them.
Yeah.
So
cool.
You may have encountered one yourself over the weekend.
Job.
Yeah.
South Lake, that's where all the Teslas are. So we'll get.
Yes. Many of them do reside right there in South Lake. That is true. I think we've talked about that before. It is the luxury car, the luxury vehicle capital of the planet. It's really
just sit in the
amazing.
center of the little town square and you watch all the exotic cars drive by.
Yes, you will. That's for sure. And you'll see, I guess, on selected weekends, Elon Musk protests, which is
there you go.
Fantastic. One of the things that their little signs read, and it's interesting because one of the signs, you had to get the sign. I can't remember what city this was in. But the signs were from the lending poster library or something. They were all manufactured for these people and then handed out to them.
So organic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It doesn't get any more organic than that. I mean, just grassroots stuff. But one of the things they were all upset about was Elon Musk taking their Social Security away from them. I mean, I don't get it. Where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from the left. It's coming from the news media. But Musk has actually said recipients are going to get more Social Security, not less, because they're cutting out the fraud and waste, which makes it possible for others to receive even more of their benefits that they deserve. If you just take out the people who are dead and have long been dead, and you remove them from the rolls, you think we're going to save money that way? I think so. But Elon said slashing $1 trillion in federal spending is quite achievable without impacting core services.
Yeah.
Vowed Social Security recipients will receive more money thanks to their work. I believe that. I mean, it's just the left fear-mongering on this stuff. And it's really despicable. It is scaring old people like this and making them think that they're going to lose their benefits. It's pathetic. Ugh. The lies are really, really difficult to handle. All right. Representative Tim Burchett with a stalker. Is there somebody stalking Tim Burchett?
Sure. Yeah. It's fun stuff.
Okay.
I think you'll enjoy this video.
All right. And here he is.
Congressman Perry, do you trust Trump's national security team to keep our war plans top secret?
You trust your mother every night to fix your Hot Pockets and make sure your Gameboy is turned on.
I love Tim Burchett.
That was awesome.
Tim Burchett is like...
It's great.
He's just a normal guy. I love this guy so much.
He had to have that ready.
Of course. I think that
He had
kid is
that
hanging
ready.
out every day.
Yeah.
And he's like, next time I see that kid, I'm going to drop the Hot Pockets line on him. I mean, maybe update the Game Boy reference a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, that was a home run.
Other than that, that was a grand slam is what that was. I mean, it just stopped him dead in his tracks. He's like, okay, you got me on that. I got nowhere to go.
Stop recording.
Do you trust Trump's national security team to keep our war plans top secret?
Do you trust your mother every night to fix your Hot Pockets and make sure your Game Boy is turned on?
Dang. He's like, that's not what I wanted.
So
He was
dejected.
so deflated. He's like, sure did.
So great.
And kudos to the staffer, because I love how the staffer, he could have just kept walking, but he turns around so that we can get the reaction of the
full
punk.
effect.
Like,
it's brilliant.
Let's check out how he's responding back there. Oh, are you sad now?
Absolutely deflated.
So good.
Oh, man.
So good.
It's great.
Love him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. You know, the Great Barrier Reef. I was just reading this article, I think.
It's not a documentary that you're referencing.
No,
on
no,
the Great
no.
Barrier Reef.
No,
Okay,
it was it's an article.
Okay.
About how the left is panicking people about the Great Barrier Reef too.
Oh, I've done that.
You know, the coral reefs are just in such danger because man-caused climate change. Right. Except for the fact that the Great Barrier Reef is as expansive now as it has ever been in recorded history. The coral cover has nearly tripled in the past dozen years. The thing is, as with many elements on this planet, it's healing. It heals itself. The ocean does this. The Barrier Reef does this. Despite the record expanse of coral off the coast of Australia, the climate community, mainstream media, unrelentingly push the narrative that it's dying. CBS News ran one of its periodic pieces on the reef a few months ago with this terrifying headline: "Parts of the Great Barrier Reef dying at record rate. Alarmed researchers say worst fears confirmed." Except they're not. Except that's a lie. The Guardian has been relentless in its apocalyptic coverage of the reef's supposed imminent demise. More than a decade ago, the outlet essentially delivered the reef's last rites. Great Barrier Reef damage, irreversible unless radical action taken. So, of course, radical action hasn't been taken. CO2 has gone up about 30% worldwide, and yet the Barrier Reef is thriving. 888-900-3393. More coming up.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome. Let me tell you about Pure Health, because let's be honest, we're not getting any younger, right? And if you want to look and feel your absolute best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements that are designed to help with every health goal you could have, whether it's boosting your energy, trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping your testosterone up, or even reducing swelling in your legs. Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients and backed by clinical research, manufactured right here in the U.S. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering an exclusive 35% discount right now. 35%. Just go to purehealthresearch.com. Use the coupon code PAT at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's zero risk in trying something new. So why wait? Go to purehealthresearch.com right now. Check out their 45 amazing supplements and save 35% before this deal ends with the coupon code PAT. Don't miss this chance to feel your very best. It's purehealthresearch.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed continues.
So Tim Walz and Beto O'Rourke.
I mean, you're talking about
we're hanging out.
Two losers.
Oh my gosh.
Who's the bigger loser of those two?
You know, Tim Walz bugs me more than Beto.
Look at that. Maybe that's a Pat poll.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm alone on that, but I can't stand to look at Tim Walz.
But the question was, who's the biggest loser?
Tim Walz.
Who's more disingenuous? Tim Walz, I'm a hunting man, and I can kick your ass. Or Beto O'Rourke, the Irishman, wants you to believe he's Hispanic.
Yeah, on every negative characteristic, I'm going Tim Walz.
Yeah? Okay, but when you play this clip, listen to Beto try to sneak in, like, Espanol. What a stupid ass.
Hey, everybody. Here with my friend Beto in the great state of Texas with a couple thousand of our friends who just simply wanted their member of Congress to come out and listen to them, and they don't want to do it.
And if the member of Congress is not going to show up, then Governor Walz, myself, these great folks from Powered by People, the folks in Fort Bend County, everyday Americans, Republican, Democrat, Independent, will show up, and we'll take the power of the people back. And we're going to save this democracy. So I could.
We're not a democracy. You can't save something that doesn't exist.
And showing up for us.
Walz forgets his name.
We are great. Glad to do it. Nobody's. These folks know they don't need anybody else to save them. They're here to do it themselves. So, folks, if you're wondering what you can do, find a town hall, volunteer, register to vote, talk to your neighbors. Let's move this thing in the right direction.
Let's do.
Thank you.
We already did by getting rid of you two. We've told you over and over and over, both of you, we're not interested.
No.
Bye-bye.
So even after seeing that clip, you're still voting Tim Walz?
It's still Tim Walz, yeah.
Andale.
Yeah. Do the poll, though. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, do this poll.
Let's see what America
Who annoys
feels.
you more? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
they're both exceptionally annoying, but for me, Tim Walz. Oof, man, I can't stand the guy. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Was in West Virginia. This is amazing. What an administration we have. So he recalled his first meeting with West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrissey.
Oh no.
Yeah, and here's how that went.
I got to know Governor Morrissey early in the transition. We were both down in Palm Beach working on the transition in Mar-a-Lago. And we were both invited to stay during that time at Dr. Oz's house. And I got to know, I said to Dr. Morrissey, or Governor Morrissey, the first time I saw him, I said, "You look like you ate, Governor Morrissey."
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow. And there was a lot of talk about getting healthy again. And I'm very happy that he's invited me to be his personal trainer.
Oh, that's cool.
And I am going to put him...
This is crazy, man.
Did you eat him?
You look like you ate Governor Morrissey.
I'm going to put him on a really rigorous regimen.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet.
Okay.
We're going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrissey to do a public weigh-in once a month.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Wow. Oh, no. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state.
Okay.
And do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him.
Wow.
Oh my! And we're gonna have a piece of cake together.
Holy crap! You talk about saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. You look like you ate Governor Morrissey. Wow, that's. Yeah, I don't think I'd be his friend after that, frankly. Maybe I'm just a little too sensitive.
You know, and they did a bill signing later. I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not signing your little SNAP bill.
Yeah.
Talk about fat shaming.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, apparently he doesn't have the same rule that this show does. I
see.
You know, where we don't abide fat shaming on
and we
the
take
show.
that rule very seriously.
Very
Robert Kennedy.
Seriously. So we're very offended.
To do that
frankly.
in a clip that we played. Shame on
extremely offended.
him, not us.
Right, that's right. Exactly. He also talked about getting unhealthy food out of the SNAP benefits program the way West Virginia is doing.
All of them are getting calls every day from the big soda companies, the sugar soda and the fake food companies. We're not eating food. We're eating food-like substances. And these companies are now, just like the tobacco companies were, are flooding into the offices of your state leaders and legislatures of the governor. And they're telling him he's making a big mistake. They're telling him that they're going to stop writing checks, that they're going to run people against them, that they're going to destroy their political careers. And Governor Morrissey was telling me that he met with the soda companies this week. And they said to him, you need to be educated about this. And they said, you know, food stamps is not a nutrition program. He came in with his Diet Coke and he said, is there anything nutritious in here? And they were like, no, of course not. But food stamps is not a nutrition program. And he said, it's called SNAP, Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program.
Right.
It's supposed to be nutrition. It's not supposed to be food-like substances that are actually poisoning us. And so, but it takes a lot of courage to stand up to these companies the same way that it did to stand up to big tobacco. But these men and women, your leaders, Governor Morrissey, is standing up for you. And we all need to stand up for ourselves and take care of ourselves. It's an act of patriotism. If you love this country, you need to start taking care of yourself.
Well, yeah, but leave that to me. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Leave that to me. Although, if you're on food stamps,
That's the thing.
right? If you're on food stamps, then I'm sorry, the government does have a say in what you eat.
That's the top. I mean, that's the issue.
And that's
here.
what he's talking about
Yeah.
here. But if you're telling me not to have a soda, you know, which I shouldn't do because I've got diabetes, but if you're telling me not to, I'm going to tell you, you know what? I'll handle that.
Yeah, I think if that were the issue, then we'd be absolutely saying that.
Right. But the SNAP program, that's different.
I'm surprised that wasn't
different.
a thing to begin with. That you only had to have healthy choices if we're paying for your food.
I think at one point it was.
I thought it was until recently.
I think it was. And maybe it varies state to state.
When did they change that?
I don't know.
Because I know when I was on STAMP, when I was a foster parent, we could only get healthy stuff. There was no soda.
In Texas?
Juices,
so when did that change?
Milks, and cereal, grain. But it was I could not get a Snicker bars.
Oh, really?
For the little girl.
Okay.
She really loves Snickers.
Interesting. Also later today, the Blaze's own Sara Gonzales releases an interview with RFK Jr. And this is a clip from that where he talked about what was happening at HHS under the Biden administration.
During the Biden administration, the budget of HHS went up by 38%. And the amount of employees increased by 17%, and all of the metrics of public health actually accelerated downward. We need to reverse that. You know, I came in, we have over 100 communications departments. We have 40 IT departments, 40 HR departments, and on. We are going to consolidate those. The agency's a $1.9 trillion agency. It's completely impossible to govern. It's impossible to inspire. It's impossible to have a unified mission that everybody wakes up in the morning and says, my job is to make America healthy again. These different agencies, divisions were living in silos. And sometimes they devolved into kind of fiefdoms where they were at war with each other. So I found out that medical information that is collected by one silo, they then sell it to the other groups in my agency. Instead of sharing it and saying, how do we use this in a way to improve patient care? How do we use it in a way to make people healthy? We're cutting down 28 divisions into 15. We're eliminating the redundancies. We're streamlining the agencies. We're going to do nothing to cut the scientists or the frontline providers or the people who have core responsibilities for protecting human health.
Almost $2 trillion budget.
HHS?
Mm-hmm. Almost $2 trillion. My gosh.
Are you feeling healthier?
No, not so far.
Kind of like education. The more money you throw at it, the worse we do.
Man.
That is, I'm looking forward to that sit down with RFK and Sara Gonzales. Kennedy just announced, late last week, that they're no longer going to be promoting vaccines.
Wow.
That's a sea change. Mm-hmm. And did you see Zero Hedge did a report where the state of Texas at this point this year compared to at this point last year has given out 15,000 more MMR shots. Yet our measles situation
is worse.
Yeah, we have more cases in Texas,
300,
than the entire of last year in the United States.
My daughter was just saying to me yesterday, Dad, did you know there's 300 measles cases? I'm like, yeah, so? And I mean,
but I thought
they're making such a big deal out of it. It's not. And we played you that. I think we did it on Overtime. Did we do that on Overtime or the regular show too?
We did it on both.
We did it on both. Yeah, where they, back in 1969, the Brady Bunch handled a measles outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Did they act like it was the end of the world? Their children were all going to die. Everybody in the neighborhood was going to be killed? No. No, they had a little party where they invited all the kids together and they all got measles and got it over with so that they didn't get it when they were adults. And then at the end of the show, Alice, the maid, comes in and she's got measles.
Oh, that Alice. She's a card.
Oh, wow. So was she going to die? Was she going to drop dead right then and there? No.
But it's my understanding, and we've been told this time and time again, that if the measles vaccine is now more being 15,000 more shots in the state of Texas, why are the measles outbreak? Why is it so bad now? They couldn't be connected, right?
No.
Because something happened in Gaza recently, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago, when they introduced a new measles vaccine, and lo and behold, there was a measles outbreak. I just don't understand. I thought that the vaccine was supposed to stop it cold.
It's just like that with all vaccines. My brother got polio from the polio vaccine. It does happen where you get the disease that you're trying to prevent from the thing that's trying to prevent it. And they don't like to talk about that, but it happens.
So, and they were promoting out in Gaines County in Texas. They've been promoting the vaccine, and obviously the increase in, let's see, measles cases up 242%. Despite this health district campaign.
Weird.
And to hand out free measles vaccines. So
I wonder if that could have anything to do with 10 million people sneaking across the border who we don't know anything about. Whether they had measles, whether they didn't, whether they had any kind of, multiple diseases, who knows? But they came across the border and they didn't stop anywhere to check in with us, so we have no idea.
Officials say that the measles is expected to continue to rise over the next several months before it cools off. So we'll see.
Uh-oh.
Going to be fun.
Wow. Okay. Watch for mass death. 2 people have died. One was a child who also had RSV. The person had respiratory problems. They had multiple issues. So I don't know. Was it the measles that killed that child? I don't know. Probably not. And then the adult. I think after the person died, they did the autopsy, right? And realized there were measles.
Was that right?
In the body, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it sounds like a COVID death.
Yeah, it does.
With COVID or from COVID?
Exactly. All right. Here's Byron Donalds, who was talking about black families.
Yeah, this is a year ago. So
last year.
It's important to set up the context for the second clip. So here is a year ago, Byron Donalds.
All right.
One of the things that's actually happening in our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of black families with younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively.
Yeah.
And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. Wow. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth. I'm looking at my kids. How can my kids be on my shoulders when they take off in life? That's what's happening.
Yeah. It's interesting because years ago, I think in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, black families had fathers in the home 90% of the time.
Right.
Now it's almost the opposite. It's like 73% don't have a father in the family.
And just to be clear,
so something went on.
Yeah, Byron Donalds is only referencing a point in time.
Yeah.
He is in no way suggesting that Jim Crow is good for the black family.
Of course
he's
not.
Talking about that era in America.
And yet, here's Jasmine Crockett from last week.
And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow,
I can't.
like, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally, it's because you married a
That's
white
not what
woman
he
and
said.
so you think that whitewashed you. I'm not really sure, like, what it is.
What a
but
racist. He didn't be married to a white woman under Jim
Correct. Correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? Like, he just out here.
She's the worst.
You know, I feel like they give him his talking points and he's
despicable.
like, yes, master, I got it.
Okay, I can't. Oh, my gosh.
So she's pissed at Donalds for marrying a white woman. Racist much, Jasmine?
Well, yeah, every day.
Every damn day.
Every day.
She is such a moron.
Oof. Who's the worst, Pat? Her or Tim Walz?
Oh, crap.
That's a good one.
Let me check.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Let me think about that while I tell you about delicious steak. One of the best things in life is a really great, juicy, delicious steak. And I love it when that steak comes from a cow that was raised right here in the great state of Texas. If you want to buy beef from a family-owned, fifth-generation ranch like I do, look no further than Tri-Tails Beef. You can bring premium Texas beef to your table because these are top-tier cuts of meat, hand-packed and delivered directly to you. USDA Prime and Choice beef with high-end Black Angus genetics that ensure that every single bite is going to be absolutely consistently delicious. Don't make the mistake of going to Sam's or wherever and trying out their prime cuts because a lot of times they're not. And if they are, they sure don't taste like it. I've been so disappointed in the past when I've done that. I've never been disappointed with Tri-Tails beef. It's fantastic. It's raised the right way. It's balanced for tenderness and marbling. And so that means these cattle are pasture raised and grain finished by Texans who care about the quality of their product. I get hungry just thinking about it. So go to trybeef.com/Pat Gray. Get free steak tips on orders over $249.99. That's trybeef.com/Pat Gray for free steak tips on orders over $249.99.
Pat Gray Unleashed is back.
All right, let's hear from Barack Obama on saving money back in 2011. Ooh. This should be interesting.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. At a time when families have had to cut back, have had to make some tough decisions about getting rid of things that they don't need in order to make the investments that they do.
Like Doge?
We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small.
Wow. Who is
in
this
a systematic way. Obviously, this is even more important given the deficits that we've inherited and that have grown as a consequence of this recession. This makes these efforts even more imperative. This does mean making some tough choices.
It does?
It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now.
Wow, who is this
We
guy?
don't need to wait for Congress in
What
order
is this,
to
Elon Musk?
do something about wasteful spending.
So
that's out there.
draconian.
Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something
Where's
that
the
leaders
protests?
in both parties have worked on, from Senator Tom Coburn, a Republican, to Democrat Claire McCaskill. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like.
Wow.
And that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste.
Campaign to cut
Not
waste.
just to cut spending, but to make government work better for the American people. For example, we've identified thousands of government buildings that we don't need. Some have sat empty for years.
Who is this?
So we're getting rid of those properties.
And yet they didn't
save the American people billions of dollars. Roger Rhodes works at the Department of Commerce. Raise your hand, Roger. There's Roger. He found a way to save the department almost $2 million a year on its cell phone bills. And I'm sure that there are probably some consumers out there that would like to talk to them and find out what they could save on their cell phone bills. Celeste Steele is here. Celeste, raise your hand. Celeste works at the Department of Homeland Security, and she's helping to save taxpayers tens of millions of dollars by changing the way the department buys goods and services. I've also tasked Vice President Biden to work with the secretaries of all our agencies to identify some systemic areas of potential improvement. Travel, transportation, IT services.
How dare you?
All of which we know can save us potentially billions of dollars.
Why would you do that? Why would you save us money?
Joe convened the cabinet and has really pushed them hard in finding savings across all our agencies.
He's doing exactly the same thing.
Today I'm signing an executive order that builds on their good work. It directs agencies to slash spending in each of these areas. Travel, printing, IT, because we believe that we can get better results for less using technology. And overall, spending in the areas covered
Who elected that team behind him?
Will shrink
Who elected
by
them?
20%.
Well, what fascism is going on here with these people doing cuts?
Billions of dollars over the next several years.
Good gosh.
There are things that we can do right now that will actually deliver better government.
All right. Remember the protests after this announcement? Remember the I don't see these burnt down.
And we're going to keep on fighting.
All right. Gotcha. Thanks, Barack. Appreciate it. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
That could have easily been Donald Trump saying all of that.
Yeah.
And the left would be losing their minds.
And having the Doge team standing behind him. In fact, there's a very similar photo that was taken at the time. Incredible.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.